Well, good evening, everybody. Welcome back to the channel. Your host Flyway here with uh, April 18th affordable group break. Tonight we have a box of Series 2 1994 Upper Deck Baseball. And if you were with us last week, I did share that this was a little bit of a switcheroo, if you will. I had recently purchased a Eastern um, the hobby version of the Eastern distribution boxes. Upper Deck tried something in '94 where they had Central, East, and West um, divisions or whatnot, and the cards were specific um, to those regions. So the big card in 1994, of course, in Upper Deck was Michael Jordan, and he was in the central boxes, whereas like the eastern boxes, you didn't get quite as much. So this, you know, that idea kind of fell flat with not only with fans but with the actual hobby shop owners as well. So they ditched that, but I still wanted one of the other varieties because this is a set I'm building. So I already had this one, which I believe is just a retail box. And so I switched it for the hobby box that I bought, um, or I switched in this one for our break. So, but still an interesting set. Good evening, Hal, Matthew. What I did not realize until I was doing some reading the other day was that the design for '94 Upper Deck was really designed. The design itself was supposed to be for SP, and I forget what happened that it wasn't ultimately used. Oh, that's right. They were going to retire the brand the Upper Deck base brand, I guess you could say, and they were going to make Collector's Choice, kind of like the flagship brand. So you'd have Collector's Choice, so you'd have the low end or the base, and then you'd have SP for your higher, your higher end. But yeah, they changed their mind and did a little course corrected. Hal says, when you build a set, do you like to get all fresh pack or do you trade to finish? I prefer to rip a box and collate the set myself. One for the because I can assure myself that the cards will be in good shape. If I've got dupes, I can compare them. Sometimes there are printing errors or whatnot. So I prefer to do that. But yes, I do trade to finish. I haven't been trading lately. I've had my trades on the trading card database turned off now for a little over a year. And eventually I will get around to turning those back on, because there are several sets that I have built in the last year that I'm still needing cards to finish. But I also will hit up Card Barrel and Sports Lots and stuff like that to try to find some of the cards that I need, especially if they're just the ones. But I also like to rip the boxes myself because I use the boxes to make a binder cover and a binder spine. If it's a set I'm going to put in a binder, which pretty much if I'm building it, it's going to go in a binder. I've kind of limited myself to what I'm doing. But so for a lot of reasons, I like to do it. But of course, I don't get very rare that I can complete a set out of one box. And with prices on the secondary market going up, yeah, it's just difficult to even sometimes two packs or two boxes. All right, so we got, I believe it's 36 packs, 12 cards per pack. Let's see, we've got, this was the first year Upper Deck got in on the parallel game, so we have the Electric Diamond parallel, and then inserts, we've got baseball card heroes are 1 in 35, next generation are 1 in 20. There is a classic alumni autograph 1 in 3,000 and a trade card at 720 packs. So not a lot of variety, but yeah, it's especially for the junk wax era stuff. You know, I can, well, some of it's still cheap, not all of it, but yeah, when you can get it, and you know, it's just fun for me at least, because like I said, I know they're all in good shape. When I did a lot of trading card database trades, every once in a while I'd get some really dogged up cards, and I wouldn't even add them to my list. I would go in and take them off because they just were, again, if I'm putting them in pages, I want them to at least look nice. But there are some things where, like for Upper Deck, I bought Series One. I just bought the complete set, or a hand collated set because of the Jordan, because of Rodriguez. Boxes were just more than I wanted to spend, so I bought a hand collated set for half the price. And it just kind of was crossing my fingers that they'd be in good shape. All righty, so let's go and get this started. Bobby Bowe for the Mets. Here is our Electric Diamond, Matt Brunson for the Tigers. Doug Drabek, Astros. I've got my old nemesis, Brooks K. We got an Alan Benez for the Cardinals. Randy Tomlin, Pirates. Hey, I was hoping to see him tonight. Mark Lemke for the Braves. Mike Devereaux for the Orioles. Jack Morris, Indians. Mike Perez for the Cardinals. Mike Moore for the Tigers. And Randy Johnson for the Mariners. So in typical Upper Deck fashion, we got some nice photography in this set. It's one of the Diamond debut subsets. Bill Van Landingham for the Giants. And here is the Electric Diamond parallel. Brian Harvey for the Marlins. Tim Salmon, home field advantage. Pete Smith for the Mets. Oral Hershiser, Dodgers. David Segui, Mets, excuse me. Mitch Williams for the Astros. David Cone, Royals. Mike Gallego for the Yankees. Pat Mears for the Twins. Billy Hatcher, Red Sox, and a Cal Ripken Jr. for the Orioles. Yep, Matthew, I'm right there with you. I wish we still had Upper Deck as well. Electric Diamond is Charles Nagy for the Indians. Scott Erickson for the Twins. Charlie Huff for the Marlins. John Smiley, Reds. And Ahara Cedeno Astros. Dave Nielsen for the Brewers. Rio Cormier, something like that. Cardinals. Roberto Kelly for the Reds. Troy Neal, Athletics. Hal Morris for the Reds. I have a Upper Deck alumni, Sean Green for the Blue Jays, and a Ryan Hancock for the Angels. We got us an insert. Next generation, Ryan Klesko. A little headshot hologram, which really doesn't do much. If you move it back and forth, it just is like saying, nope, 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 nope. But I don't know if I've seen one of these in person. Or maybe I do. Maybe I have the salmon from the set. But pretty nice nonetheless. I have a Jose Silva top prospects for the Jays. Eric Anthony, Mariners. Kent Mercker, Braves. Andy Benez, Padres. Bip Roberts, Padres. Juan Guzman for the Jays. Even the photos on the back are fun. The giant mitt. Matt Williams for the Giants. Darren Fletcher for the Expos. Speaking of the Expos, here's the Electric Diamond, Larry Walker. We got a Edgar Martinez, two of them for the Mariners. I don't remember these foil packs being so hard to open, though. Scott Erickson, Twins. Ripken, Orioles. Kevin Tapini, Twins. Henry Rodriguez for the Dodgers, and that is our Electric Diamond parallel. Derek Bell, Padres. Lou Whitaker for the Tigers. We got Kevin Seitzer for the Brewers. David Justice for the Braves. Cecil Fielder, home field advantage, Tigers. Top prospects, LaTroy Hawkins for the Twins, and a Dave Nielsen. Diamond debut, Hector Carrasco, Reds, and a Paul Shuey for the Indians. Greg Hibbard, Mariners, another Bobby Bowe. Pete Smith for the Mets. Jeff Juden, Electric Diamond, Phillies. Greg Vaughn for the Brewers. Jeff Bagwell, Astros. Kenny Rogers for the Rangers. Jeff Montgomery, Royals. Randy Johnson with a camera in his hand. And Billy Hatcher for the Red Sox. So, Hal, you're up in Hendersonville. Nice part of the state. Steve Soderstrom, top prospects for the Giants, and a Jason Giambi for the A's. Got Frank Castillo for the Cubs. Kevin McReynolds for the Mets, Electric Diamond. Troy Neal, Greg McMichael, Braves. Ruben Sierra for the Athletics. Pat Lestache, Brewers. Travis Fryman, Tigers. Scott Leyes, Twins. Jim Thome, Indians, and Mike Moore for the Tigers. Hey, good evening, Ben. Hope you are doing well. Hope you're on the road to recovery after your procedure. Alumni, Shannon Stewart for the Jays, Kevin McReynolds for the Mets, Electric Diamond. I think that's back-to-back of those. Terry Steinbach, home field advantage for the A's. Hershiser, starting to have some duplicates already. Jamie Navarro for the Brewers. Kent Merker for the Braves. Larry Walker for the Expos. Jeff Blauser for the Braves. Blackjack McDowell, White Sox. David Weathers for the Marlins. Luis Bologna for the Yankees. And Kurt Schilling for Philly. Oh yeah, I remember when JD Drew was the hot name in the hobby. James Mouton Diamond debut, and that is the Electric Diamond that goes to the Astros. Chris Sabo for the Orioles. Chad Kreuter, Tigers. Hey, we got a Mickey Mantle Baseball Heroes, 1953, tape measure home runs. It's pretty cool. Luis Gonzalez, Astros. Ken Caminiti, Astros. Kurt Miller for the Marlins. Greg Myers, Angels. Tim Nearing, Red Sox. There's a Derek Jeter, top prospects. Still a young Jeter. Brad Fulmer for the Expos, and our Electric Diamond is a Frank Thomas home field advantage. Ben said, moving around better. Still can't bend my back much. Not in pain. Well, that's the good part, Ben, is that you're not in pain like you were. I've been fighting some shoulder discomfort in my left shoulder for a couple of months now. And I've thrown my back out several times, so I know that stuff is no fun. Diamond debut, Chan-Ho Park for the Dodgers. Prospects, Matt Brunson, Tigers. Got a home field advantage, Mo Vaughn. And a home field advantage, Cal Ripken, Electric Diamond. Rio Cormier, Cardinals. Pete Smith, Luis Gonzalez, Caminiti. Eddie Murray for the Indians. Carl Rhodes for the Cubs. Danny Jackson for Philly. Jody Reed for the Brewers. So with 94 Upper Deck, it was their first year into the parallels. So let me ask you, do you miss the days of one parallel, or do you like having the 50 million parallels that everybody seems to do now? Top prospects, Alex Ochoa, the Cardinals. Or not the Cardinals, wrong bird. Orioles. Shane Stewart, alumni. That is the Electric Diamond parallel for the pack. Dante Bichette for the Rockies. Gary Sheffield, Marlins. David Segui for the Mets. Kevin Seitzer. Jim Gott for the Dodgers, Joe Gray for the Angels, Ray Langford, Cardinals, Jeff Juden, Philly, Walt Weiss for the Rockies, and Sid Fernandez for the Orioles. Al says, I like 1978 Topps when you opened it and everything was the same. I like less parallels. I don't mind a couple, but 62 or whatever is too many. Matt says, I'd rather have 15 base cards in every pack. If you're building a set, yes, you want the base cards. Top prospects, Mike Bell for the Rangers and Charles Johnson for the Marlins. Scott Cooper, Red Sox, Avery for the Braves. Another Randy Tomlin, another Benez, Mike Devereaux, Scott Servias, John Wetland for the Expos, Gary Gaetti for the Royals, Bob Wickman for the Yankees, Pete Incaviglia for Philly is the diamond, or electric diamond. I've been chasing a lot of rainbows lately of lesser name players, and then I'm all in on super collecting Mark Lemke. So I'll be looking for everything of his, but thankfully he played in a time where there's not all these parallels I have to chase, which is nice. So part of me likes the chase. I'm having some fun putting these rainbows together, marking the spots in the binders, so when I get those cards, I can easily slide them in. But yeah, I think I kind of side with most of you where give me a couple, and other than that, yep, just give me the base cards. Another Jeter, Derek Lee for the Padres. Home field advantage, Juan Gonzalez for Texas, Dennis Eckersley for the A's, Steve Finley, Astros, Roberto Kelly, David Cone, Dave Nielsen. I think we've seen these. Gary Gaetti. Oh, there's the Billy Wagner, and it is the electric diamond parallel. Nice. Henry Rodriguez, Sean Berry for the Expos. Yep, Nick Lofton. I'm just doing his 2024, his rookie season. Thankfully, his name doesn't carry a lot of weight in the hobby, so I can pick up his stuff for decent prices. Another guy, and it just happens to be another former Expo, is Brewer Hickling. He and Lofton are I picked them to collect for a couple of reasons, but it's more for who they are off the field than what they've done on the field. But I read up on both of them and kind of admire who they are. And like I said, neither one of them have carry a lot of weight in the hobby, so I can pick up some cool parallels that I would normally not ever mess with. So for that reason, it is kind of cool. Steve Soderstrom, diamond debut, Joey Hamilton for the Padres. Mike Kelly for the Braves. Biggio for the Astros. We got a John Franco for the Mets. Another Hershiser. Another Cedeno. The electric diamond is Cal Eldred for the Brewers. Darren Jackson for the White Sox. Back to back. They've got Estrada for the Marlins and Doug Jones for Philly. Diamond debut. Got Paul Shuey. Another Brad Fulmer. Mark Lewis, the Indians. Ron Darling for the Athletics. Brian Harper for the Brewers. Up, Ben, if you're still with us, got your Electric Diamond Sammy Sosa. Cool photo, too. Matt Williams for the Giants. Juan Guzman for the Jays. Greg Olson, Braves, back-to-back. Greg Swell for the Astros. And Kevin Brown for the Rangers. Shannon Stewart, another Jose Silva, Greg Vaughn, home field advantage. Parallel is Luis Polonia for the Yankees. Eric Hansen for the Reds, Bobby Bowe, Bagwell, Derek Bell, Rob Dibble for the Reds, back-to-back. Valentine for the Red Sox, and Joey Cora for the White Sox. Sean Green alumni. I like this photo. Chuck Finley, Electric Diamond for the Angels. Derek May for the Cubs. Scott Sanders, Padres. Kevin Young for the Pirates. Dwayne Ward for the Jays. There's another Sammy Sosa, the base variety. Greg Vaughn for the Brewers. Kirby Puckett for the Twins. Frank Thomas for the White Sox. Mel Rojas, Expos. And a Pedro Munoz for the Twins. All right, with this pack, we are halfway through the box. Brooks K, Jason Giambi, Chris James for the Rangers, Jose Vizcaína for the Mets, Benito Santiago for the Marlins, Moises Alou for the Expos, there's Chuck Finley, another Sierra, John Kruk, Phillies, Marquise Grissom for the Expos, Melito Perez for the Yankees, and the parallel is the Billy Hatcher for Red Sox. Well, thanks for stopping by, Hal. Hope you have a good evening and safe travels tomorrow. Are you headed home tomorrow? Another Joey Hamilton debut and a Mike Bell prospects. Wally Joyner, home field advantage for the Royals. Roberto Kelly, Willie Banks for the Cubs. Felix Furman for the Mariners. Joe Gray, Jim Gott, Dodgers. Todd Zeal for the Cardinals. Mark Portugal, Electric Diamond for the Giants. Dave Valley for the Red Sox. Sandy Alomar Jr. for the Indians. I noticed the Electric Diamond is not in the same it's not in the same location in each pack, which I don't know why I find that interesting. 2-hour drive. Yeah, it's not too bad, but safe travels, Hal. Derek Lee, Alex Ochoa, Mike Henneman, Andy Benez, Tony Fernandez, Bob Welch for the Athletics, Scott Servais. For the Tigers, Mike Henneman, Electric Diamond. Dennis Martinez for the Indians. Mike Morgan for the Cubs. Omar Vizcael for the Indians. And Pedro J. Martinez for the Expos. Charles Johnson, top prospects for the Fish. Chin-Ho Park, Dodgers. Otis Nixon for the Red Sox. Tim Wallach, Dodgers. Bob Welch, Athletics. We've got, I don't know how to say his name. Last name Pozo, top prospect, Electric Diamond. Parallel for the Mariners. Ramon Martinez for the Dodgers, back-to-back. Anthony Young, Cubs. Paul Wagner, Pirates. Reggie Jefferson for the Mariners. And Rafael Palmeiro for the Orioles. Matt Brunson, top prospects for the Tigers. Trot Nixon for the Red Sox. Home field advantage, Kirby Puckett. Here's a Randy Johnson Electric Diamond. Getting some decent parallels. Furman Fernandez. Darryl Kyle, back-to-back for the Astros. Steve Farr, Indians. Vince Coleman, Royals. Brian Harvey, Marlins. Jim Abbott, Yankees. Eddie Pearson, for the White Sox. The Electric Diamond goes to Matt and his Royals, Jeff Montgomery. Tim Pugh for the Reds. Brett Saberhagen, Mets. Kurt Miller, Marlins. Willie Banks, Cubs. Delano DeShields, Dodgers, back-to-back. David Hulse for the Rangers. Charles Nagy, Indians. Mark Grace for the Cubs. And Mike Blowers, Marlins. David Hulse, Rangers. Robert Einhorn, Diamond debut for the Yankees. There's the A-Rod Classic alumni. Not technically his rookie card. That was in Series 1. Roger Pavlik for the Rangers. Jamie Navarro, Brewers. Greg Myers, Angels. Paul Molitor for the Jays, back-to-back. Got Sean Dunston for the Cubs. Another Puckett for the Twins. Barry Larkin for the Reds. And another Chuck Finley Electric Diamond. Xavier Hernandez for the Yankees. Ben McDonald, Orioles. Kurt Schilling is the Electric Diamond. Parallel for the Phillies. Roberto Hernandez for the White Sox. Mike Piazza, back-to-back for the Dodgers. Kent Mercker, Greg McMichael, Moises Alou, Paul Molitor, home field advantage for the Jays, and 2 Jermaine Allensworth prospects for the Pirates. I guess the only thing about this design that bothers me are the horizontal orientation cards. The backs, are still in the typical vertical. So if you keep the backs the right way, then if you put these in pages, now the name is upside down and the team is upside down. So they would, if you put them in like this, everything lines up, but then again, your card is upside down in the pocket. So stuff like that really grates on my OCD. Another A-Rod, another Einhorn, Sean Green for the Jays, Dwayne Ward for the Jays, Troy Neal and a Lou Whitaker. I think we've seen those. Another Pat Listash. Eric Hansen is the parallel electric diamond, Reds. Another Frank Thomas, another John Kruk, Dave Hollins for Philly, and Mike Harkey for the Rockies. Pete Incaviglia, Phillies. Andres Galarraga for the Rockies. Lee Smith. Orioles, Marquise Grissom, Larry Walker, Blauser. Steve Finley is the electric diamond for the Astros. Bip Roberts, Padres. Barry Bonds for the Giants. Tom Henke, Rangers. Another Eddie Pearson and another Trot Nixon. James Mouton, diamond debut. Astros, Hector Carrasco. Home field advantage, Don Mattingly, the Yankees. John Burkett for the Giants. Cal Eldred, Brewers. Saberhagen. McReynolds, Don Slaught for the Pirates. Another Lee Smith, electric diamond. This time is John Burkett, or Burkett, for the Giants. Jerry Cora and a Bobby Munoz for Philly. Top prospects: Preston Wilson for the Mets, LaTroy Hawkins for the Twins, Kurt Abbott, Philly, Roberto Alomar for the Jays, Greg Maddux for the Braves, and I love these alternate photos. Like I've noticed several. I have a sub little collection of batting pitchers, which of course is a thing of the past. But I've been making notes of some of the cards where the pitchers are depicted batting on the back of the card. So I think I already have that Maddox, so that'll be great. I can put that in that sub collection. Tim Wallach for the Dodgers. Graham Lloyd for the Brewers. Cal Ripken Jr. electric diamond. Pretty good. Carl Rhodes for the Cubs. Eddie Murray for the Indians, Pedro Nunez, and a Paul Sorrento for the Indians. Got about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 to go. Jeff Montgomery for the Royals. There's another Royal. Johnny Damon. Look at that young Johnny Damon. Another Ryan Hancock. Ellis Burks for the Rockies. Ozzie Smith, the Wizard. Got 2 of those for the Cardinals. Real Cormier, Electric Diamond Cardinals. Mike Jackson, the Giants, another Jeff Juden and Ray Langford, Bobby Munez, and Destrades. Lots of cards, so lots of duplicates in some cases. Greg Swindell, Paul Sorrento, John Wellen, Mike Morgan, Stan Javier, Scott Brocious for the A's, another Biggio, Roberto Alomar for the Jays, Pat Mears is the Electric Diamond for the Twins. There's a Griffey home field advantage for the Mariners, Diamond debut Van Landingham, and there is the base version of the Billy Wagner, and I do believe that is his rookie. Can't believe we once had an outfield of Damon, Beltry, and Dye. Darren Kirkreet, prospects for the Indians. There's a Steve Avery, Electric Diamond for the Braves. I'll take it. Roger Clemens for the Sox. Another Greg Maddux. John Burkett. Another Dave Justice. John Jaha for the Brewers. Hey, another Mark Lemke. Paul Wagner. Steve Farr. Jody Reed. John Valentine. Xavier Hernandez for the Yankees. Diamond debut. Tim Davis for the Mariners. Alan Benez prospects. Doug Strange for the Rangers. Eldred. Vizcaíno. Dennis Eckersley. Mark Langston for the Angels. Vince Coleman for the Royals. David Hulse. Sid Fernandez, and a Barry Larkin Electric Diamond. Need one of those little blades like Mr. Ben uses to cut some of these difficult packs open. Man, what are the odds? Another next generation, and this time it's David Justice. Jorge Fabregas, diamond debut for the Angels. Armando Reynosa for the Rockies. Benito Santiago for the Marlins. Scott Sanders, Padres. Steve Avery, Terry Steinbach for the Athletics. Mitch Williams for the Astros. Another Charles Nagy. Tim Wallach, Electric Diamond for the Dodgers. Sean Berry, Expos. Mel Rojas for the Expos. Rigged or lucky? Well, come on. I mean, I can't really rig these. early 90s, Braves had a loaded lineup for sure. Can't say the same now. Lito Perez, Doug Jones, Sean Dunston, Tim Belcher, and Cavilla is the Electric Diamond. Mickey Tettleton for the Tigers. Gary Sheffield, Marlins. Ron Darling, Athletics. Kevin Young for the Pirates. Terry Mulholland for the Yankees. Terrell Wade, top prospects for the Braves. Todd Dunn, the Brew Crew. All right, our final pack. I got an alumni, Matt Brunson, the Tigers, and an alumni, Tavo Alvarez for the Expos. Bill Gullickson, Tigers. Eric Hansen, another Bijou. Electric Diamond is the Eric Hansen for the Reds. Darrell Hamilton, Bernard Gilkey for the Cardinals. Another Jeff Montgomery. Roberto Hernandez. Kevin Brown for the Rangers. And Danny Jackson for Philly. And that officially wraps up just under an hour. Maybe I can catch the tail end of SmackDown before the it goes off. But good stack of Electric Diamond parallels. We got some good ones. We got the Billy Wagner. We have Frank Thomas. I think we had 2 Cal Ripkins. Got 2 of the babyface Jeters. Did get one of the Mickey Mantle long shot Mickey Mantle baseball heroes. Not sure I'd seen those before. And then these were exclusive to retail. Next Generation, 2 Braves, Justice and Klesko. I'm real happy with the Justice because that's probably one of the next player binders I put together. I just got to decide if I want to just stick to Braves or do I put Yankees and Athletics and Indians. Do I put all of those in there as well? I haven't decided. All right. Next week, I double checked with the distributor and everybody who said last week when that 2025 Heritage comes out on Wednesday seems to be correct. So with any luck, that box will be waiting for me when I get back from my trip to Atlanta. My kids are on spring break this upcoming week. So we're going down Tuesday to catch the Braves and the Cardinals. I was really excited when I booked the trip, but the way the Braves have been playing, I can't say I'm as excited now to go. But it's still Major League Baseball. Anytime I can get down to Atlanta to catch them, I'll do it. So looking forward to that. I may hold off on posting the sign up until I have that box in hand. I just feel weird about signing people up for something that I don't have in my possession. So, but I do have that coming. And if all goes well, I'll do my best to get the signups on Wednesday. So it gives us a little shorter window of opportunity to claim teams, but newer product usually goes pretty quick. So I'll put a message up in the group to look for that sign up on Wednesday. So that's more than likely what I'm going to do. But I do appreciate it, guys, and I hope that everyone has a very happy Easter. And should you need anything, give me a holler. Matthew, give me a little bit of time. Let me get everything sorted from tonight's break, and I will, as I told you, I'll throw those in your box. I'll weigh it and I'll get you your shipping quote, and I'll try to have that out on Monday for you. But that is it for me, guys. Enjoy the weekend, WrestleMania, Easter, or whatever the case may be, and we'll catch you back here next week. Talk to you later.